All right, guys, welcome back to Zando Football. Definitely appreciate the support. In this video, we're going to get into a pressure package from Penny that you can utilize. And it is a blitz package that's based off of the concept of hot quarters coverage. All right, so I haven't made a video explicitly about hot quarters coverage. Okay, eventually I will. It will probably be the next video, but the concepts of hot quarters ties into this video. All right, so why don't we get right into it? We're going to lead into the actual coverage here. My opponent went gun split close, and we're going to get into why it's important to understand the rules of a particular coverage. So here you see me set up a blitz package here. There's one thing I don't like about Penny. They flip the safety sometimes. That is obviously a bug. And there's the package right there. So what you see me do on the outside, I turn the outside corner into a soft squat, and then our inside safety is still in his quarters read. Okay, and what you will see, this may seem like a defense that is not sound, but this is one of the benefits of a split safety coverage. All right, this side of the defense is completely independent of this side of the defense. We are playing a split safety coverage over here, which allows us to do whatever we want on this side of the field. And what we're doing on this side of the field, when you call, I believe I call palms here, they are going to box these three players. Okay, the game tags this as a bunch coverage, which means that the three rack will play the first inside underneath from the bunch. He will play the first outside underneath from the bunch. First deep inside, first deep outside. All right, so we have a 4-on-3 over here, but over here is where we can get creative. All right, over here we have, why don't I go ahead and play it? Because I don't want to go too far. 5. You know what, I'll just go ahead and run it here. Over here we are getting a 3/2. Okay, so originally this guy was in a quarters flat. This guy was in a quarters and this guy was in a quarters, but we flipped it. We turned him into soft squat. We blitz the outside linebacker here and we keep him in a quarters defense. And what you're going to see is, I believe he goes to the flat. The soft squat will now match that, and then he will take the vertical and match the inside route by the receiver. Okay, and we are blitzing here. And this is the concept of hot quarters coverage. This isn't true hot quarters because hot quarters, we're bringing 6 while playing match, but we're blending in half of it on this side of the field. All right, so we can take a look at what happens on this side. Okay, I cut off the inside underneath. Okay, and they are going to match these two routes. So since no one is threatening inside deep from the bunch, he's able to hang in between the hash and the numbers and help out a deep post route from the backside, as you see here. Okay, but let's move forward here. So this is what I wanted to show. I wanted to show, okay, we are able to bring 5 on a pressure, okay, while matching in the back end. That's the benefit of what we're trying to do. But we're going to look for ways to optimize the pressure, okay, because this is not a look that's hard to block up head to head. All right, we can just get in like what they call, I believe, a 5-0 call, as you'll see here. And as you'll see what I'm trying to communicate with you guys, okay? So the back end is sound, but how about we develop a way to get someone coming scot-free while bringing 5 on a pressure, right? So we can look at that front and try to figure out ways to get someone coming scot-free. All right, so here, this is another example of utilizing the concept of hot quarters coverage. This isn't the true 6-man pressure, but we still are bringing 5 on a pressure while matching on the back end. And you'll see what I'll do here. This is me calling cover 6. All right, so I call cover 6, and what does cover 6 do? It puts the cover 2 side on the weak side and the cover 4 side on the strong side. So what we're doing on the strong side when you call cover 6 against empty, I believe here is where I put the rules right there. All right, they're going to play stubby on the backside, right? So you're going to get the same thing if you call palms here. Palms or cover six, they're going to play the same way on the strong side, all right? Both of these guys are in a 3-2 read, so they're both reading the 3. He dictates how they are going to play. This is the 3 rec, and then he's meg on the number 1. Okay, so if we get a route combination like this, reading 3, he's vertical. Okay, I take him. Reading 3, he's vertical, so I know the safety will take him. So now I convert it to man-to-man on the 2. All right, where it changes is where this guy goes out. Get something like this. All right, reading 3. 3 is out, and I know the nickel will take that, so I take the vertical of the number 2. Reading 3. 3 is out, so now I leak off and I take that man-to-man. And obviously he's meg with this guy. All right, but on the backside, when we call cover 6, it keeps these guys in vert hook, soft squat, deep half. But where we change it, where we can incorporate the hot quarters type of concept, how about we blitz the apex, and then now we get in a 2-1 read, all right? Because in cover 6, he's in a deep half, right? So if you blitz him, he's not going to be in a 2-1 read. So if this guy goes inside, he's wide open, he can rip it in there. But if we just blitz him and then use it at deep half safety, we're not going to play deep half. We're going to play the 2-1 read. So it's still sound, because if he goes inside, okay, I should put this as a cut too. That's the better verbiage here. If he goes inside or vertical at all, we are attaching to that route 100%. Okay. However, if he goes out, all right, then we look to cut and take over the route of the number 1. And the reason why is because we know he's in a 2-1 read and he's going to jump that out. Okay, this is a way to where we're blitzing, we're bringing a 5-man pressure, but we are still matching in the back end on route combinations. All right, so this is what I'm doing here. I'm reading the number 2. If he goes vertical, I take that route all the way, inside leverage, top shoulder. And I will get an interception on this. I believe my opponent had no idea what I was doing here, so he was slightly confused. I pressed off on the corner, and look how he widens inside, or he opens up his hips inside, because he's reading the number 2. Because 2 is vertical, he now knows he has the vertical of number 1, so he plays inside leverage of that. And we are playing inside leverage on the route, top shoulder, and I get an interception. All right, so that's just the back end of what I'm trying to show you. But the main thing is, okay, we got the back end under control and how we're going to play this particular set. All right, I'm going to get to the tight set, use the time stamps. There's a reason why I'm showing you this. But what we have on the front end here in the box, I believe I had a stunt called, and we didn't get someone coming scot-free. Okay, that's what we're trying to do. We really want to get someone coming scot-free. Even though we're bringing 5 and you're blocking 5, we want to get someone coming scot-free. So this is where I ran a stunt here with the blitz, and it looks like it should have gotten through because the center turned to the strong side here, and we have 3 coming against 2, but the center opens back up late, so that's good communication there, and they're able to pick it up. Okay, so the point I'm trying to bring here is that, so now we're going to get into gun tight doubles. All right, yeah, we got the back end sound and what we're trying to do against those particular sets, but we want to be able to get someone coming scot-free. How can we do it? That's the mode of thinking that I try to get at. Okay, we build from the ground up, we understand the match coverage on the back end, but we were trying to get somebody to come scot-free, and this is where we get into the penny front. All right, the penny front naturally creates a way to where we can get someone coming scot-free while bringing only 5 under pressure. Here's an example right here. Okay, what the penny front does is we cover the center. Okay, and quite naturally, it forces the offense to want to get in more man-on-man blocking schemes, or in a 5-0 pass protection type of deal, to where the guard opens up here and the tackle opens up here. Okay, And what that allows us to do is bring someone off the edge here to where we get a 3-on-2 on the backside. So we get someone coming scot-free, okay? While playing a hot quarters type concept on this side of the field. All right. So against gun tight offset, what I do is I call cover 4 quarters or cover 4 palms. It's going to play it the same way. All right. And we know against gun tight offset, they treat this like bunch. So we are playing box on this side of the field. Okay. He's going to take the first inside underneath, first outside underneath, first deep outside, first deep inside. They are going to box the bunch. We don't have to worry about that side of the field. But what we do is we bring the backer on a blitz on the weak side here. Okay. We turn our outside corner in a soft squat, and then we user the safety. Yes, when you put this guy in a soft squat on the outside, he still gets in a 2-1 read. All right. So what he's going to do is he's going to read the release of the number 2. If the number 2 runs a vertical pattern, that ends his process, and then he takes the vertical of the number 1. Okay. So what do we do in this coverage? We're going to use it as safety and read the number 2. We want to be a 2-1 read. 2 is vertical. We take him. All right. We're cutting the number 2. All right. In this example, if 2 goes out, then our outside corner will man that route. And when we see him go out, that's when we convert into man-to-man coverage on the outside receiver. Okay, that's how that works. Now we'll get into something else, a little nuance with the coverage. And watch how the center is occupied here. The guard is forced to widen to the strong side here, and we get a 3-on-2 on the backside, and we get a free rusher at the quarterback. So we're bringing 5, you're blocking 5, but the front, from the penny front to the 5-1 front, allows us to get someone coming scot-free on the weak side. So here I'm going to show you an example of me. You can do whatever you want on the backside. You can press the corner. I like to leave them off, and I'll show you why. So the number 2 goes out. So he's going to take him, and we are responsible for the vertical of number 1 in that instance. All right, so you want to play from depth and read the release of the number 2 because that dictates how you're going to play. All right. Now, in an instance like this, the outside is open due to poor user play here, pre-snap, but that's the whole point of getting someone coming scot-free. Your opponent does not have enough time to make the read and allow routes to develop down the field. Also notice how the number 2 gets a delayed release off the LOS. He doesn't get a free release due to how we are lined up. Okay, so that delays his release. You may ask, okay, well, what happens if both of them go inside, right? So this is why I have this drawn up. All right. Remember, he's reading 2-1. So yes, he's in soft squat and he's reading 2. When 2 goes inside, he will then attach to vertical routes by the number 2. Okay. So this is a pure man match type coverage. Okay. You may assume that he's going to stay outside, but that is not the case. He's reading 2-1. Okay. So he matches the posts by the number 2 because number 1 goes inside. So when this is the one thing I do when I call this coverage is if the number 2 goes on a drag, all right, we're reading 2-1, I do not attack the drag now. All right. We're just going to stay on a horizontal plane, play from depth, and run with the drag. And the reason why is because there's a bug where if this guy runs underneath into the inside, the number 2, then he's not going to match the route. He's just going to squeeze the formation and then hinge back out and get vision the quarterback. So the reason why we want to stay over the top of the drag if number 2 goes in is because on a situation where this guy's coming inside underneath as well, then we just cap both of those routes. you see here. Notice how he squeezed on that second in and then he hinges back out. Okay, so then we want to stay over the top and cap both of these routes to the inside. And again, instant pressure. The front with that blitz from the backside gives us a numbers advantage on the backside. So let's get back into some actual gameplay footage. My opponent was in tight doubles, so I called the play. All right, there's our blitz. It's very easy to set up. That's a benefit of Penny with this package here. Soft squat the outside corner. So what's going to happen here? All right, they're going to box these three over here. We are on a 2-1 read, and he is on a 2-1 read. I should say cut the two. Okay, so we have him vertical and inside. If he runs out, then we cut the one. We take the route of the number one. All right, so let's go ahead and run it. Reading two. Two is going inside on a drag. So this is where I horizontally run with it. And look at the pressure. Again, this is the benefit of the Penny front. All right, so he takes out the center. He's forced to open up to the front side here with this front, with the tackle. Leaves us 3-on-2 here on the backside. Free rusher. There we go. So my opponent went right back to gun tight doubles. So I ran the same thing again.
It takes a player who can close quickly to get to him before it's released, and that sure altered the throw.
Okay, reading two. Two is vertical. Right now in the route, I know that I'm taking this man-to-man. He's going to take the vertical of the number one because two is vertical. All right. And what do we got? This guy's coming scot-free. Hopefully he gets there. And scot-free he is. We can look at what happened on the front side there. I mean, that's just good play here. I believe what happened here is he ran a drag, he runs a post. I don't know what the back ran, but the safety who's inside leverage, he plays first deep inside. He plays inside of that. Corner can zone out to quarter. You're supposed to cut this off. The problem with the game, guys, is the 3-rack plays terribly on that inside underneath route. But that's the benefit of pressure. We kind of alleviate how terrible he plays on that inside underneath route by getting pressure against this tight set here. And look, he keeps the back in the block. I mean, this is, you can't beat this. Because now he's sending 4 out into routes. Against 6 in coverage, and we still get a free rusher. You cannot beat sending 5 against 6 in protection and still getting someone coming scot-free. Okay, so that's what I guess this was his adjustment to us getting free heat on him in the last play, and we still get free heat again anyways. So now we will get into an issue that can present itself. Is that's when guys start doing this. Okay, so I could have easily checked out, but you know, again, online I like to try stuff out and see how stuff interacts. And here you will see why the front with the player over here is far more beneficial than him being over here. All right, so with him changing over in the bunch, it forced our backside defender to have to align over here, and now we don't get that numerical advantage here, right? So we're bringing 5, he's blocking 5, but he's able to block everyone up, and that kind of negates the strength of the coverage. Okay, he still goes in a 2x2 set, so I shouldn't have gotten off of this guy. Okay, he's still reading 2-to-1. 2's vertical, so now he should attach to that. He does, but again, we didn't get pressure this time. We had a busted coverage. This is where you may want to check out of this coverage, check into something like cover 2 or into a different blitz package that I will come up with later. All right. So, I mean, this is what you want to do, guys. When you get a set like empty, okay, what's your toolbox for empty, right? I showed you palms. I showed you a hot quarters from palms that you can call. Okay, and then I have other coverages that I use. Against tight, okay, here I showed you a pressure package from Penny. Okay, and I have a cluster package that I want to show later, a trap blitz coverage that I'll show. I play cover one hole with an adjustment. I play cover three cloud with an adjustment. Okay, this is, you know, the toolbox you have to deal with different problems. Okay, you want to have more than one answer to deal with different formations. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. I hope you got something from this video, and I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.